Welcome to Spirit Baby Radio. I am your host, Kelly Meehan, a citizen of the universe and a passage keeper and mentor for our new Earth children. I believe we are entering into a new psychic structure of our reality, and it is meant to embody deeper trust and ways into solid self-love and fearless integrity. Our new world energy of spirit babies needs us to consciously create within conception, trust pregnancy, and have freedom to birth and parent from innate wisdom. This is Spirit Baby Radio. Welcome to episode 241, April 2026, Spirit Baby Stories, sharing from the heart from conception into birth. The new Earth children of today, real Spirit Baby stories, real connection, real truth, where spirituality and science meet to expand how we understand life itself. I am honored to welcome our special guest, Anita. As I would consider her, she's an expert in motherhood and heart connections who wrote a book about her spirit baby journey, more than that, and it is called Finding
Arien.
I want her to say it so I don't say it wrong off the bat. Finding Arien, an Uncharted Journey into Conception, Spirit Babies, and Motherhood. And welcome, Anita.
Hello, hi Kelly.
And I always like to share, like, how do people, like, how do I connect with people? What is this about? And Anita reached out with her book, sharing. There's a little part of me in this book. She was quoting just my work, and I was like, wow, like, to me, it was an honor for myself. And we're going to talk about her book and the stories and her really true life vulnerable experience for sure. So that's how we connected. And I thought, what a beautiful way to open up Spirit Baby Stories with a story that's literally anybody can buy and purchase and read. And to me, I can see this being very helpful and guiding for women that have been on a very long and what's the word? I mean, intense journey. And you're going to share more about that in just a moment. But I want to share a little bit more about you. And we'll be able to buy her book. You'll see it's on Amazon, and there's links that will be in the show notes. So you can grab those. And of course, if you're visually seeing me, you can see it through YouTube. This is what the book looks like. So let's see, here we go. Anita Gerewal is a Malaysian-based intellectual property lawyer, spiritual mentor, and author of the book Finding Arien, while she professionally protects innovation and creativity through her legal work. Her personal journey led her into a far deeper exploration of creation itself, fertility, motherhood, and the soul's divine timing. After experiencing 7 pregnancies, profound losses, including a stillbirth, and the clinical world of IVF, Anita was called into a spiritual awakening that transformed her understanding of fertility. Well, welcome. And there's more to say now that will be in the notes, but welcome, Anita. Again, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here. Like I said, it's quite surreal to be here, considering a few years back I was Googling spirit babies and I stumbled upon your page. And this was after reading Walter's book on spirit babies. And I was like, okay, wait, there must be more information on this on the net. I need some supporting evidence. And I came upon your podcast, and I think I went through like 50 episodes, and I just couldn't stop listening. And I was like, okay, I'm not alone. So looks like there are a lot of people out there who experience this. So thank you so much for having this platform for people like us who are looking for information, especially when we first start on this journey.
Yeah, and as you're saying that, I'm wondering, like, you're thinking, like, I'm on Spirit Baby Radio, like, like you're here. Like, would you ever even think that would even happen? It's like now you're here, and thank you for saying that. And I want to know how you put like, okay, like I said, it's very vulnerable. There's a lot of intense, real experiences that you're having. How do you feel when you were able to write that from your heart? Like, and we're all going to be looking at it. Like, how does that feel is what I'm curious. And what made you go, I'm going to write a book and share it with people? Like, honestly, like where does that come from?
So when I started, when I was on this journey, I think the constant question that I had in my mind is, I'm doing a lot of things. And there are people out there who don't seek this information or do this many things, maybe. Or there are more that there are people who do more than me. But where does this information go? Because IVF is such a sort of a taboo and silent kind of community, when people are going through fertility issues. And so there's no information sharing. And, being a lawyer, I always look up for resources and I do my research. And I'm like, yeah, but if no one is going to speak about it, we are not going to find this information. So I had that question in me, but I didn't think I'll end up writing a book. I thought I'll probably end up having a website, journal, or something like that. So I started making notes. I started journaling while I was on the journey, not knowing where is this journal going to go, if it's going to be public ever. And I think the idea of book only came about after I gave birth to my son. And when you're done, you are there, you have succeeded, you've got the child that you wanted. I kind of started thinking, yeah, I'm here, but there are a lot of people who are not here. What about them? It's so easy to get what you want and then forget about, oh yeah, I've done it, so I don't really care what anyone else. It's quite human to do that because we move on to other things in our lives. But I had this voice in me that kept on coming that, no, wait, you are a woman and you need to support other women. So you cannot stop here. You succeeded. You're a success story. So you need to put your information out there and help the other women. So I started with helping people around me, talking to them, whoever was going through IVF journey, talking to them, trying to see if I can help them. And slowly, I think I started thinking, wait a minute, I can't just help people around me. I need to help more people, sort of like look at broader perspective. And that's when I started noting down things, thinking, could this be a book? But you need enough content for a book. So I started collecting information and started writing. And I think before I knew it, I had enough content to do. I looked at it and I was like, oh, wow, this can be a book. And that's when I started, I did my first draft. And believe me, I did not believe that I could actually publish the book. Even after I had my first draft, I had at least 4 or 5 people read it. And when they told me that this was good, it should go out. And I out there. And you're right, it's a difficult decision because you're going to put yourself out there and you don't know what anyone is going to say and how people are going to judge you. So there was a lot of those kind of fears. But I just sat down and told myself, look, you just have to do this. For the sake of other women who are out there who need your help, you just need to do this. So that's how that came about.
I mean, that's big deal. Like you just felt like, again, I commend you for the vulnerability, um, because you've had a lot of loss and a lot of confusion, a lot of heartache, and you're like, here you go. And that's pretty amazing. And I want to hear more about the journey. We won't give away the whole book, but just, parts of your connection. Like, so you're like, I'm ready to have a family, and then it's not happening, right? I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah. So
and
it
yeah.
started in 2016. I got married in 2015, and my husband was still in the UK, and I was based in Malaysia. So there was a lot of traveling happening back and forth. And I finally got pregnant in 2016. And it was a threatened miscarriage. So I was put on bed rest. And I remember dozing off on my mom's couch. And I had this dream about a boy in the forest. And he was smiling at me and he waved goodbye to me. And I got up after that dream and I was like, wait, what was that? Who was that? And right after that, I had my miscarriage. There was
Mm.
confirmation that I had miscarried. And that was probably the very first encounter I had with spirit babies. But at that point, I was oblivious to the concept of spirit babies. So I didn't know that that was the name to be given, or who this person is. Is it real? Or, am I having a dream, a visitation dream. So I did not know all that at that point. And then we went on with the journey, did some tests, everything was clear. So we tried again. And after a few months, I was pregnant again. And it ended up being an ectopic pregnancy. So I moved on from that, and after a month, I had another ectopic pregnancy. There was a back-to-back ectopic pregnancies, which is really rare.
I was going to say, is that common or no?
It's not. It's as my doctor said, it's 1 in a million chance.
Whoa.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially back to back on the same site. It is really 1 in a million chance. So obviously we were very, I guess, medically engrossed into the situation. And I didn't have any dreams or any feelings. It was just, kind of trying to get through this difficult time. And so after the two ectopics, I was advised to go through IVF because once you
Mm.
lose your fallopian tube, and I have lost one side, what happens is even IVF can be difficult when you don't have your fallopian tubes because there's no blood flowing to the
Mm.
ovaries. So since I had only one, my doctor had advised that I should probably go for IVF, and that's what we did. And we got two embryos. In Malaysia, you can do genetic testing and they kind of tell you what the gender is. There's no rule or law to stop that. So I had two male embryos, and we decided to transfer one. And so everything went well. But with that pregnancy, I started getting some dreams. And apart from dreams, I had some very weird situations or occurrences. For example, I was once walking and I was pregnant, heavily pregnant, and a bird just flew and landed on my tummy. And I thought that
Wow. That's not something you hear.
exactly. I was like face to face with the bird, and then it just looked, made eye contact, and then it flew off. And I was like, okay, this is weird. And then I started having some dreams about my baby being sick, uh, me losing the baby, as in I've lost a child and I'm looking for that child.
Hmm.
And there was one particular dream where the baby was trying to tell me about a condition and it was trying to spell out the name, but I couldn't quite get what it was. And I think later on, I realized it was VSD, which was hole in the heart. And so that was one of the dreams that I had. And one of my friend had gone for salt bath, and she came um, after that treatment, and she told me, you know what, Anita, I had a weird thing. I dozed off during the salt bath treatment, and I met your baby, and your baby said, "You don't talk to me. You should talk to me." It's just like it's weird. Why did I get this message? So all of these things to me back then, even being spiritual, um, I took it with, I guess, the way of saying it is I was very practical and I listened to people, I listened to my heart, but I was not actually as listening. I was not taking it seriously, I think. And eventually, at 7 months pregnancy, I lost the baby. So his heartbeat stopped. And it was quite a difficult and traumatic birth because I had placenta previa. So I had to carry him for 14 days after he had died to be able to deliver safely. I mean, for my safety, I had to do that. So it was quite traumatic. And I think that was the point when I just sat down and I said, you know what? I think I should give up. I think this maybe what this is trying to tell me is I'm not meant to be a mother. I think it's very obvious. It's universe is telling me just stop, just stop trying so hard. So I had that sort of breakdown at that point that maybe I should just give up. And that very next day, my sister called and she said, I had a dream of your baby.
Mm.
Uh, And when I woke up, because he was trying to show me something on my body, and then I woke up and I saw a bruise on myself, and she sent a picture to me. She said, "What does this look like to you?" And I looked at it and I said, "It looks like I love you."
Wow.
And she said, "Yeah, exactly. It looks like I love you." And that was his code word, sort of trying to tell me, "I'm here and I do love you. And keep that hope. I am going to come. But you need to sort yourself out."
See,
So,
this is not to interrupt you, but this is the hardest part. And I want to just kind of spotlight this because a lot of women throughout the years, they always feel like, am I giving up? And I always like to say, maybe surrender, but not give up. And that's a hard place, right? Because where does a woman feel like after losses and all these different things, like, how do you find the strength then to say, no, there's something here. And I love that you got the dream message. You're very clairvoyant, by the way. You're getting all these dreams, getting all these messages. And but yeah, tell us more. And then, after you get that message from, what happens next?
yeah, and you're right. It's that part of it is the most difficult, where you don't know what is out there. What should I do? And you're right. Many women go through that, and that's exactly where I was. But this one dream or messages that kept on coming made me sort of come out of that. I had to go through the 5 stages of grief,
Mm.
grieve my baby that I've lost, and all sorts of emotions. I mean, it's not easy to go through postpartum when you don't have the baby.
Yeah.
And what people say, you have to go back to work, where people are like, I had clients who come to the meeting and you're like, "Oh, you have given birth. How's your baby?"
Yeah. How do
So,
you
so
answer that? Do you just flat out say my baby died? I mean, that would be the
yes,
most honest thing to say.
exactly. And I think I don't know if it's right, because the people receiving these messages, they may not be ready to receive this kind
But
of
that's why I said it's the
response.
most honest thing to say, oh, my baby didn't make it or my baby died. I just feel like we need to be straightforward with people. And yeah, people
Yeah.
will be uncomfortable. You probably saw that a lot, but then you're still trying to figure out your own kind of next step or where your energy is, it sounds like you are honoring the grief because you don't have a choice, really. I mean,
Yes. Yes. So that was the difficult part. I think the whole going through relationships, at that point, I saw that was the first thing, where my relationships with a lot of people, I think it was kind of like figuring out myself as well. How people around me were either supporting me or not supporting me, or why, trying to understand why they don't understand, why are they uncomfortable. So there was a lot of that to go through and sort out and process, and which is important. You need to process all of that. And after that, I started with, I read a lot of books. I started doing meditation. One more thing that I would like to point out was, sometimes you can't find the answers. I was a very religious person, but I couldn't find answers to this grief in my religion. Or
mm,
I guess, because it's such an innocent death. And you're like, why? Why would this happen to you? And yeah, you just can't find the answer. So you set on this journey of, I need to find an answer before I move on, before I think whether I'm going to try again. And that's where I was. So in fact, I told my husband, physically I may be ready, but I am not mentally.
I
And
saw that
that's
in the chapter. The post-traumatic stress disorder is a real thing. Yes.
Yes. Yes, and that's an important realization that you need to have, that you need work done. You cannot just sort of bulldoze and just go through it, just because, for the sake of, oh yeah, my age, so there's biological clock ticking, so I need to do this quickly and get through this. So I decided to take a break, and that's when I set on this journey of, meditation, trying even acupuncture, or going for energy healing. I even tried this CBT, which was uh, advised by my doctor, and that's the cognitive behavioral therapy. And these were all the things that were basically to overcome the mental side of things, the mental issues. So that took a few months, and I felt a lot better. And it's also to prepare me for another pregnancy, because if I'm going to go into another one, I'm going to have a lot of trigger points. After that many losses, I'm going to freak out at every smallest thing, that every smallest issue I have in the pregnancy.
And did
So
you? I mean, realistically, I feel like I see this a lot with women with loss. There's a level of fear that's just in the space now.
yes,
How do you, what it was there, but you were able to maintain through through the therapies and healings to just be like, okay, like how would
yes.
you?
Yeah, so all this helped me. It did. If I didn't do this work, I think I would have not been in that place. So doing the CBT, meditation, energy healing, continuing with all these things, reading books. One of the things that I found was quite good was reading success stories. So I found a few books where people had gone through stillbirth and then had a child, live birth. So that was important, because those things tell you that you can have a success story after having a stillbirth. So I did all of that, and we actually did two more IVF cycles, because we only had one more embryo. So we decided to collect more embryos, and I ended up with quite a few embryos. I had, I think, about 11 embryos, but I only had one girl, and I had 10 boys.
Wow.
So I was like, and I always wanted to have a girl. So I was like, okay, yeah, but I'm not going to transfer the girl. I think she's a
Yeah.
bit too precious. So let's go
You're
with the
like, you
boy.
gotta wait and see, yeah, what's happening. I get it.
Exactly. So I transferred a boy, a male embryo, and everything was going well. Everything was well with that pregnancy. And I didn't really have any dreams except for one, which came just before I got pregnant. And I saw a boy smiling at me. And he looked exactly like my son, who was then born after that. So I had that one dream, and I had, well, I guess I saw a lot of animals. There was a lot of like this spirit animals, I think, that came to give me messages during the pregnancy. But otherwise, it was very calm, I guess I did a lot of meditation during the pregnancy, and then my son was born. And of course, I noted all the things. I started talking to my baby. I started journaling every day. So I called it womb letters. So I wrote letters to him every day of what's happening. So and it was very honest, because I also spoke about fears. So if I was feeling scared, I will explain to him, why am I feeling scared? So I spoke to him like an adult, like not like a baby, but more like a counterpart, to say, look, I want to bring you to earth, but this is not easy for me because of this. So please understand, please stay, and please let's work together. So that was something that I did, that I think it did help me quite a lot, because I was able to voice out what I was feeling. And at the end of the day, I'll write a note, I love you.
Mm,
So yeah, so then my son was born. And obviously that was, something really nice, a nice feeling that finally I made it, because I had that fear till the very end, that
of
I hope
course.
I'm running a marathon, so I keep losing babies at
Uh,
different point of time. So yeah, so my son was born, and after that, after when my son was born, I had a lot more dreams coming in, because obviously I was going to transfer my daughter next, but I was going to wait for a while because I had a C-section birth. And she started coming into the dreams almost immediately. After
wow.
2, 3 months, my son was born. And it was always, for example, one of the dream was, she was in the spirit baby world, and we went to visit her. And then when we said goodbye to her, she was like sad. And it's almost like saying, I'm waiting, I'm really waiting, I'm next in line. So I had that dream, and then I had another dream where again I visited her in the spirit baby world, and she's like, mommy, I've been waiting for you for a long, long
Oh,
time.
yeah.
And I really want to be with you. So I decided to bring forward I was supposed to transfer after 2 years, but I decided to do it after 1.5 year when, it was safe to do it. So we transferred her, and I had a lot more dreams with her during the pregnancy. So I guess she was a bit more, I guess, maybe vocal or sort of connected more with me. And in fact, I was doing this, I believe in crystals, so I do work with crystals. And I was doing this crystal mala for pregnancy. And she actually sort of came in my dream and gave me the colors and the exact crystals that she wanted in that order, in the order that she wanted. And I was like, okay, wow, okay, I'll get this done. So I had a lot of those dreams, and then she was born. So I had two babies, and I was honestly quite content. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I've got a boy and a girl. I think my family is complete. So I think maybe we'll think about what we're going to do with the embryos. Although initially I had planned to always have 3 kids, but I was kind of tired, I guess, after going through so many pregnancies. I was just tired, and I was like, okay, I think I'm done with this. This is a lot. And after that, a strange thing happened a few months after my daughter was born. You see, I completely forgot that I could um, also conceive naturally, but we were told that the
Mm.
remaining tube was probably also blocked. So that's why, we went for IVF. But after about few months, my daughter was born, I got pregnant naturally. And that,
Wow.
yes, that came as an accident. And there was a few things that happened before that pregnancy. And I kind of knew that I am going to be pregnant, but I couldn't believe myself. So I knew before I had a positive test. In fact, I knew a week before, and my husband, who's a doctor, he said, that's impossible. There's no way medically you can know that you're pregnant 1 week before a positive result on your the test result. So so I had a dream. I had a dream of a boy who walked towards me. He gave me a very warm hug, but it was a sad hug. So I didn't understand at that point what it was. And we also we were on a holiday, and my son picked up the phone and he started talking to someone. And we said, "Who are you talking to?" And he said, "I'm talking to my little brother."
Wow. Now, what is your husband thinking? Oh my gosh. Now my wife and my kids are multidimensional. What am I to do?
Exactly. So he from the beginning, he never believed in this thing because he's a medic. But now he really believes. So when I say
He
something, he
has
just
to. He has no choice.
he has no choice.
Yeah.
And even before I tested positive, my brother called me and he said, I got a dream of our dad, and my dad had passed away a few years ago. And he said, there's some danger to your life. And I was like, okay, yeah, I don't know what it is, but never mind, I'll just note this. And so then I tested positive, and we were surprised because how can this happen? Our first question to the doctor was how this can happen, and he's like,
Yeah.
Anita, I think you're just a miracle. I don't know
He's
what to
like, I don't have
say.
no words for that. So wait, you get
Yeah,
this. You have a whole family of dreamers, huh? Everybody dreams. What's this about?
exactly.
I'm so curious. Like,
Yeah,
I need
I
to be in
know.
your family. Like, somebody dream about me. Give me some information. But it's a scary dream for someone to say you're in danger, right?
Exactly.
What,
And coming from my
how
dad.
do you interpret that? Because I know it may not be what we think it is, right?
Yeah. So my dad was a very intuitive and spiritual person. So when my brother told me about the dream, I was a little worried. I was like, okay, I have to take this seriously, but I'm just going to see what happens. So obviously, when we met the doctor, and the doctor said, okay, you're pregnant, but you see, there is one thing that you have to note here. This is just a few months after you've given birth to your daughter, and you've had 2 C-sections. So this is not safe for you to begin with. But I will let you think about this. You don't need to decide immediately, but you can think about it. And after that, I actually fell sick, quite sick, with that pregnancy.
Interesting.
And yeah, and to the point that I was vomiting, I was retching blood out, and I was admitted into the hospital. And that's when the doctor told me, look, this is actually not safe for you, firstly from the perspective of birth itself, that how dangerous this is going to be for you to give birth, your age, and a lot of other factors. So I would really recommend that you abort on medical ground. So that was one of the most difficult decisions
Wow.
that I
Yeah.
had to make, because coming from someone who always wanted children,
Mm.
and now to be in a position where I have the children I've lost, and now I have to make a decision to abort. So, and my worry was always, am I doing the right thing? Like what happens to this soul? And before that, I've been working with a few psychic mediums. So I got in touch with one of them, who has written the foreword in my book. And he told me, because I used to write to him about dreams, to help me interpret my dreams. So I was working with him, and he said, not worry, that spirit babies are not revengeful. It's not like, okay, they know what their journey is going to be like. And that's when I thought about that dream I had. The baby knew he was not going to stay. That's why the hug was a sad hug.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he knew this was the journey, but he came to tell me he was there, and that was his journey. So I went on with that decision, and we aborted the baby. But I guess I always felt him in my aura, and I kept on writing, to Monty, who's the psychic, and asking him, and he said, "Yeah, he's still around. He's still hovering around you. He's in your aura. He's not leaving, because he says that if he can come, he would like to come because he is the sibling of your kids, and he
Aw.
wants you to be the mother. But if he can't, he's going to wait around and probably come through your kids, or maybe a relative, but he wants to be around you. That's his connection is with you." So I kept on getting dreams after that of him. He was always there in my mind, although I was sort of making a decision. I was giving away all the things, and I was like, I'm done. And in between all of this, I also started experiencing spirit babies of friends. So I had a few different dreams of spirit babies of my friends, and I was helping them. And some of them actually did give birth, and they were very thankful that I helped them with this journey. But I think most of the spirit babies experience I had was of my own. And then I wrote this book. And when I wrote this book, I left the ending such, because I think what this book made me feel was there was a soul. And I think he had some work to do. I think the book was one of the things that he had to do. And once he has completed, probably he'll come. So I just left it open ended. And true enough, after I had published the book, the very same month I got pregnant.
I love that.
And so just before that pregnancy, I had a dream from him where he said, I'm not ready. He said, I love you.
Mm.
So when I got pregnant, I was like, okay, never mind, let's see what happens. But I ended up with a miscarriage, quite an early miscarriage, about 8 weeks. And I was like, okay, yeah, he said he was not ready. Maybe he wants to come, but something is not right. So we left it, and looking at my age, I was thinking I have a lot of embryos. Why not? Maybe I should just transfer one and just make it one transfer. I'll just do one if it happens, and we'll see how. And that's what I did. And now I'm pregnant. I'm 12 weeks pregnant. So
That's
that's
amazing. I know. Because I
so
was like,
that's
in the book, it says, I always see myself with three children. But then the book left it like, okay, two children. That's why we were talking before. I was like, wait, what's happening? Of course you're helping other people. Your clairvoyance and your clairsentience is spot on. Why not?
yes, yes. I would like to help people, but like with spirit babies, I think what I have realized is, you can call them, but they'll come when they please and when they want.
See,
And
this is the thing that people sometimes I get these inquiries asking me like, I want twins, Kelly, or I want a boy, I want a girl, and I go, I don't do that kind of magic. So I was like, that's someone else. I was like, whatever your frequency needs and that frequency of that being comes through, then that's the story you're kind of building together. And so it's interesting. I do get people from time to time, and I actually honestly tell them probably to find somebody else because, like you said, it's true. There can be baby energies with people, but the timing is very confusing for sure.
exactly.
Like, this
Yes.
is where I'm always working with different people on and off the past years, and they'll dip into like really tragic experiences, and then they'll shift out, and then something changes, and then there's no there's so much unknown and mystery, as you hear me talk about a lot, probably on Spirit Baby Radio, but also the journey. It is an awakening journey because look, you seem like you've been rebirthed into a whole other person since the
Yes.
beginning. Like you're just
Yes.
literally reborn, like butterfly cocoon and out into the world, like, and then you can see it in the story, like reading the story and like this book, I feel like it reads really nicely, but it is definitely again, there's a lot of intensity in the beginning, which I think is very beneficial because we're seeing, and I love how you talk about creativity. There was a lot around
Yes.
creativity, and we don't stop and think about that enough. Like people like, I'm creative. And it's like, are you though? Like, what do you actually do? And I felt like you were going deeper, not just like, oh, I'm creative. It's like really taking time to really sink in. And I feel like most feminine beings, we are super creative, right? I mean, we are. And but then someone will say, well, I'm an artist and why can't I conceive? That could be confusing. And I go, well, let's look at that, right? It's like, let's look at your story, the connection to you, because I do feel like it does feel like out of our control at times. And something I always say is that because there's another soul involved. Like,
Yes.
it's not like you're manifesting, like, I'm going to heal an organ or I'm going to heal my mental state. I'm like, yeah, that's just you. And now there's a whole other being. And I do agree with what your medium support says is that sometimes babies will come back through family. They can come back
Yes.
through family members and it's very, yeah, it's really, it's kind of curious. I always like to be curious and open because I've seen things in private sessions that I've never read in books that I'm going, is this possible? And it's also like, okay, this is expanding my own mental space, but also my psychic space and my metasense self gets expanded because now we've invited things like you are. You invite things in because your energy changes, right? And then
Yes.
you start to get more and learn more. And now you have another new earth child being as a part of you. And what are the lessons now that you're feeling in your body? Like what's coming up that feels different that you can kind of share with us?
I think it feels like I'm completing my journey. And Aryan he was meant to be a stillborn because that was meant to be the point of awakening. And it feels like it's that part of the journey is coming to an end, where it was supposed to make me a different person, make me someone to be ready to help other people. And I think that's where I'm going. It's something that I'll have to, I guess, just do whatever I can to help others and see if I get visitations from other spirit babies and if I can help people. So I think that's it was kind of trying to get me ready into this. It was just not about me about having babies, but it was learning
Mm.
a lot about my psychic abilities and what I can do. And I don't only get dreams of spirit babies, I also get a lot of messages from people who have passed on. And, just the other day, I had a relative who had lost his mother about 6 months ago. And although he looks happy, we sometimes don't know what stage of grief people go through. And I had his mother visit me in my dream and said, can you please tell him I am happy, not to worry
Mm.
about but I want to see him happy because that's everything for me. And of course, I hesitated before passing this
Yeah.
message because it's not easy to pick up the phone and say, look, I have a message from your mom from the other world.
I know, right? I get it. I have dreams throughout the years about people and I'm going, do I tell them this? I'm like, I do the
Exactly.
same thing too because I'm like, but then you know what I've
Yeah.
learned is that we're messengers. They can do what they can take the information and throw it in the garbage, or they can take it and let it sit with
Yeah.
them. I think when you share it and then you walk away. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think that's the art that I have not very much mastered because I wait for their I guess acknowledgement that I am right because I guess I am at that phase where I
yeah.
am like, okay, I think I'm still testing my psychic
Yeah, that's how
ability.
that works for sure. See, I get tested every week with clients. It's a little different, but I
Exactly.
know what you're saying. And I think that's what, when you're in the world of energetics so much, that's what people don't understand. Like yeah, I go into a zone when I'm working with people, but when I step out of that, I'm still metasense sensitive. I still hear
Yeah.
the universe and energies and I get very random future timelines. It's literally just my life. And you become like, oh, that's just who you are. You become accustomed to it. But you know, we can train ourselves to be more focused because when I go into session space, I go into a space. Like
Yes.
you just kind of click in and I go and I look around because I know for me, my energy sensitivity is really stronger than language. As you can tell when I was reading the bio, I don't do good with letters and words and numbers, but I can read energy and know energy so well because that's become the language that I've gotten so used to. And I do feel like as a kid, that was my language, but you keep it. I was the shy kid, so I never said anything. I was like keeping it all in, but I had this highly visual stories all the time. I didn't know it was clairvoyance. Like, how would you know unless other people? I just thought everybody saw the world in pictures and thoughts and things like that. And then when I started my spirit baby work, I don't know if you know that, I just started to tell people what I saw. And it was nice to get that validation because I was like, oh, because it felt like my imagination. So I was like, maybe it is my imagination. But then I started talking about, and that's what you do. And I think that's what you're doing too, is like, yeah, to get feedback is probably helpful. And, I feel like our brains have to filter things, which gets us in trouble, by the way. Because when you're a
Yes.
messenger, you're just kind of sharing, and then you're like, oh, but I think there's also, it sounds like just the love of service, that you're here to be of service in that way because you can, because your awareness and your opening that your children brought you. And I always say my firstborn broke my second chakra open, but he also brought me into being a spirit baby medium, to be honest. Like he brought me into this work. So I totally understand that. And then I had another, and it was just more advocacy actually for children and infants. And what are we doing with mothers and babies? Like, how are we connecting and being open to that connection? Because, and I'm sure you like reflect on your own story. It's like watching the big spiritual rebirth that you're going through. It's like, what if you didn't let yourself go to there, right? It's
Yeah.
like, what would that look like? And I'm not saying to go back there, but just to be curious, like, oh, like that's interesting because your children wanted you to be so in between those worlds so then you can, move into your next mission. But you had to take a step into like really deep trust because when we move into our metasense self, our sentient self, which is really the true self, it can feel like a lot for people. It can feel like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then yet you normalize it, as you know I like to. And your
Yes.
children, because your family, you're all dreamers. That means I'm pretty sure your children are gonna be the same way. And what a beautiful mentor they get to say, yeah, this is your dream. Like, let's talk about it. And as you shared about, didn't you were just sharing about your like son, like talking about another, baby energy. Kids do
Yeah.
that a lot. Now,
Yeah.
how old are your children now?
My son is 7 and my daughter is 5.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of language there.
Yes. So my son started feeling, in fact, like when we didn't tell him initially I was pregnant, he kind of knew. He
He
was
knew.
like, yeah, he knew. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
so I just denied, like, and then of course, when the tummy got bigger, and I was like, okay, yeah, there is a baby here.
Yeah, you can't deny that energy. Remember, it's like children are so energy like aware. Like I've heard so many amazing stories where it's like, "Hey, mommy, where's the baby?" And the mom's like, "Wait, no one's supposed to know," because it's so nonchalant. I shared on Instagram a way back where we've had a lot of death in our family, And after my dad died, my husband's dad died like 8 months apart. And then like within 2 days of that, my 9-year-old, I think he was 8.5, 9 at the time. Now he's 9.5. He ran into the bedroom. I was here. It was interesting. It always happens when I'm in the space. He says he sees orbs around the room. And by the way, this kid is very logical. He's not like interdimensional like my older one. He's very like practical at times. Like, that's not real. This is not real. But I said, so what do you think of the orbs? He goes, it was real because he saw it. But I'm sure, he saw these, these spirit beings with him, and he was so joyful about it. It was so sweet. I said, so what was it? He goes, I don't know, but they were playing with me, and I heard him giggling. So I was like, what is happening? Like, and he sees that, and that's real for him. Just because I don't see it, I feel things, and I can feel things into form. So
Yeah.
that happened a few more times. And I remember one time it happened, I was thinking about my mom and dad because they're both gone. And I was thinking about them. So when we're thinking about, right, the energies are coming in. So then my
Yeah.
son walks in and he goes, do you see the light? And I was all like, where? I mean, I see a lot of things, but I don't see a lot of physical manifestation. But I was all like, wow, and I'm just like listening to him. I'm not telling him yes or no. I'm just like, yeah, tell me more about it. And I think why I'm sharing this, I feel like you're going to see some things with your kids. You're
Yeah, I
just going to
know.
go, okay, like, there you go. Like, things are going to happen. And I think that's the beauty is we get to, again, normalize this connection. I know people say it's a gift, and that's fine. I think there's a lot of gifts of being a human, in different ways. Like some people are artistic or very mathematical. Those can be gifts too. But so we're coming to the end here, and I want you to share, how can we find your book? Yeah, tell everybody how we can find your book.
It's currently on Amazon, so you'll be able to find on all Amazon marketplaces for global distribution. It's there, so wherever you are, you can look up your local Amazon marketplace. It's not in any bookstores. I think it's mostly online. It's also on lulu.com, but that's just for online distribution, online purchase. So yeah, so you can find this, and I have an Instagram page if you want to follow me. And
Yeah, what's your
I
Instagram page? What's it called at?
it's my name, Anita Gerewal.
There you go.
So just look me up and find my page. It's not restricted, so you can go through some of the things that are posted there.
So, any final words, those that are just kind of any final love words you can share to everybody?
Think I just want to say, from the perspective of someone who didn't know anything about spirit babies, now looking back, and if there are women out there who have questions like, how do we connect to our spirit babies? Because we're talking about spirit babies, but there are people who have not seen their spirit babies. So and they really want. I think that question comes up quite a bit. How do I connect? I think the one thing that you can do is not to force anything or give directions or instructions of, oh, like you said, to have that in mind, set in mind, you want a boy or a girl or whatever, I want twins, so you want to see twins in front of you. Yeah, so you can't set that kind of thing, but I think it's just sitting down in a space that you are comfortable and just saying, I know you're there. Please come and visit me when you can and when you want. And I think it's just as simple as that. Just acknowledging that there is someone and let them come when they want to.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Anita, for those final kind of love, encouragement, and inspiration. And all right, everybody, you want to get this book if you're on that journey and you're just curious about spirit babies. And I thank you so much, Anita, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
And thank you everyone for joining episode 241, April Spirit Baby Stories, sharing from the heart from conception into birth, the new earth children of today, real spirit baby stories, real connection, and real truth. Thank you for joining Spirit Baby Radio with your host, me, Kelly Meehan. Please join my community and stay in touch with monthly energy rants, Spirit Baby poetry, and get access to Spirit Baby 101 with tips and practices at my newsletter at newearthchildren.com. And join me on Instagram with lives at Spirit Baby Medium, and join the Mighty Networks, the Spirit Baby Collective membership, and Motherhood to Mediumship. Remember, you are the heart that holds communication, and it is your time to connect. Come share in the great shift of your mind and the true spirit of your heart with Spirit Baby Communication.